just joined us on the System After Dark, this is a homegrown number courtesy of E3 and Cracker. Bulla, how's it going? I'm D, your host on the System After Dark, right here on Today FM. Today's hit music. You can catch me weeknights at 7 p.m. That's from Monday to Friday, only on the home of Today's hit music. And don't forget, that's D with you every weeknight on the System After Dark. Even got that homebrew flowing.
Good evening, this is FBC News. I'm Jackie Spade. In this bulletin, a shortage of trained and skilled workers remains a challenge for clothing and textile industry. Itaukei Affairs Ministry to tackle emerging issues for Itaukei communities. And young people urged to contribute towards nation building. The government will continue focusing on further development of the clothing, textile and footwear industry as it is a significant player in the economy. The TCF Council annual general meeting held in Suva last night heard the industry employs about 7,000 people.
The textile, clothing and footwear industry has recovered in the past 7 years. One challenge that still remains, though, is the lack of trained and skilled workers.
A lot of this business can come to Fiji and it will be worth a lot of jobs and substantial in terms of export dollars. There's a shortfall basically in all areas. We need sewing machinists, we need quality controllers, we need production managers, we need industrial engineers. There's a whole heap, the whole sector, we've got a major shortfall.
The government has stepped in to help reduce this problem with the introduction of a vocational training policy with the Technical College of Fiji. Course contents will be drafted by TCF to ensure that after completion, trainees are offered jobs in the industry.
When you are able to go and get more markets, then you obviously need to have a good crop of people who will be available for you to bring onto the mainstream or into your lines very, very quickly. And that's what we are here to do, is to provide you with that opportunity and without you having to invest too much in the sort of rudimentary training area that really people should be trained in the first place.
Public Enterprise Minister Aya Sayed Qayyum says government's initiatives to assist this sector are not freebies, but a plan to put less pressure on manufacturers and employees. At the same time, ensure the industry remains competitive in their pricing structures.
When we want to create our country as a manufacturing hub, we need the business community also as partners to come out into the public space and comment on these types of issues.
The TCF annual exports currently stand at $110 million, and the industry expects to see a steady growth in exports and employment. Ako si Tatale, FBC News.
The Managing Director of RC Manubai, Dinesh Patel, has been appointed Chairperson of Fiji Roads Authority, along with 4 new members of the board. 2 new members of the FRA are Aptiniko Varasi and Structure Civil Engineer Sanjay Kaba. The other 2 members are Acting Director for Ministry of Lands and Mineral Resources, Pritika Prasad, and Principal Legal Officer in the Office of the Solicitor General, Salaseni Serulangilangi. They will all take up a 3-year term and are eligible for reappointment. The authority is responsible for all matters relating to construction, maintenance and development roads in the country. The Itaukei Affairs Ministry expects to align its plans for 2016 with issues common to most villages and communities. Permanent Secretary Savanatha Kaunisela says a series of public consultations have uncovered matters which the ministry needs to address.
Talks were held all over the country at the grassroots level in villages and settlements in urban centres.
Mostly on areas that really touch their lives. For example, land. Fisheries, the utilization of the resources, crimes and whatnot that is happening around within the community.
Savanatha Kaunisela, the PS for Itaukei Affairs, says there are some issues which have existed for a number of years, but new concerns have emerged which the ministry may not have been aware of.
Breaking down of the social hierarchy, people are not following instructions village boundary, within the village boundary, changes that are coming in terms of housing, in terms of the dresses that they're wearing, in terms of language, customs, all sorts of issues that they're brought up.
The needs and desires of the Itoke will now be discussed at the policy level. The ministry will try and set up strategic plans for issues which can be addressed in the short and medium term. Edwin Nand, FBC News.
The Public Accounts Committee have asked the Ministry of Finance to explain the sale of government shares in Fintel, which was bought for $2 million less than the lowest estimated value. In a public hearing yesterday, the Auditor General's office highlighted that government's 51% shares were valued between $11.1 million to $19.8 million. However, the shares were sold to ATH in 2013 for $9 million. The valuation of the shares were carried out by the Finance Ministry's Assets Management Unit. PAC Chairman Dr. Biman Prasad questioned what led to the sell-off price, which was much lower than the valuation of the shares. Ministry officials are expected to respond in writing to the committee by the end of August with a consolidated report covering 2010 to 2013 to be tabled in the September Parliament sitting. The Fiji Sugar Corporation is continuing its investigations into the death of 2 Fiji Sugar Corporation mill employees. Executive Chair Abdul Khan says FSC is working with police and the Ministry of Employment in the investigations. He adds they are discussing compensation. Khan says an employee who suffered 30% burns in another incident has been transferred to the Colonial War Memorial Hospital in Suva. The employee allegedly fell in boiling liquid at the mill in Ba. 8 people have been stood down from work in relation to the burns incident as investigations continue. Minister for Local Government Parveen Bala is calling on all Fijians to build unity on the basis of diversity. Bala made the statement while officiating as chief guest at Sadhu Swami Day celebrations at Suva Sangam School in Suva today. Ali Kimbia has more.
The younger generation has been urged to come forward and contribute towards nation building.
Change will not come overnight. Nation building is a long-term process. But I have every confidence of goodwill of our people. While we take great pride in what we have achieved after the general election, we must prepare to meet the challenges and the opportunities of the years that lie ahead.
Minister for Local Government Praveen Kumar Bala says it is important to celebrate Sadhu Swami Day to encourage more Fijians to strive for the view of having a smarter nation.
I would like to assure you that the government is committed to the development and growth of education in Fiji.
Suva Sangam School Manager Narayan Sami Gaundar says it is vital to live by the teachings of Sadhu Swami.
Sadhu Kupusami led his people by example, by inspiring them and by showing them their hidden potentials and how this could be brought out to realize their hopes and get rid of their fears.
Sadhu Swami is the founder of the TISI Sangam in Fiji, and today Sangam communities around the country are celebrating his contribution to the community. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
Coming up, 8-year-old retired farm worker receives keys to his own home under government's Rural Assistance Housing Scheme.
Ya vino pele bueno topo chuma ni mosi mo kana bula FM na bandu ene sere na ngona ni ndende manda ke central rental sapo ke na rosu ko terminichi me va na koloko ni sabula
oya o wati soni dalai
gonga e mosi don
na ma ke rau mena tolu kene bitu ena via kabi moliti kena kwa rombuka
gori na lali ne kabi bula FM na bandu ene sere
A 50-year-old woman who is alleged to have assaulted an elderly relative in Nandi has been charged with 1 count of assault causing actual bodily harm. Raunita Reddy has been released on bail to reappear in the Nandi Magistrates Court next month. A video of the alleged assault of the 86-year-old woman was filmed and circulated on social media. An investigation was conducted by officers at the Nandi police station when a report was lodged about the alleged incident. A 2-day workshop in Suva is expected to discover the value of nature-based products and genetic resources in the country. Experts from international agencies and the government are looking at biodiversity and the means by which payment for ecosystem services could be used. Permanent Secretary for Itaukei Affairs Savanatha Kaunisela says traditional knowledge is important in any discussion about resources and benefit sharing.
Indigenous and local communities rely on genetic resources and have helped preserve, maintain, and increase biodiversity over centuries. And traditional knowledge related to biological resources can be an important source of information for identifying new use of genetic resources.
Kaunisela adds that the project will help Fiji operationalize the Nagoya Protocol, and the outcomes will over the next 3 years elevate the interests of the resource owners. The Ministry of Agriculture has a strategy to counter diseases likely to emerge in livestock during this cold and dry weather season. Director for Animal Health and Production, Tomasi Tuinambuna, says they have medication that farmers can access should there be diseases in their livestock. Savara Tambua has more.
Diseases such as mastitis and intestinal parasites become prevalent in livestock during cold climatic conditions.
In Fiji, we are quite fortunate that we don't really have a lot of diseases that affect our livestock, but we have worms that are normally associated with the wet. But because we've been having a lot of dry spell, we anticipate that there won't be an increase in the damage of worms, but can easily address the worms problem with the medication programs that we have.
Tuinambuna says farmers like dairy and cattle must plan properly to manage the situation.
When it rains, it really gets the temperature to a level that is normally not bearable by our livestock, and that's when we normally advise people to have extra care in looking at the housing and the welfare of livestock.
Director Meteorology Ravin Kumar says the dry weather will persist for a longer period.
When we compare to the last season, it seems to be it will be more severe than the last season. So the 3 key messages is that the El Nino is already in a moderate state and it is expected to intensify. Our dry season could be much more severe than what we experienced last year, and the El Nino is going to stay here for the rest of our dry season and possibly into the early stages of next year.
The Agriculture Ministry is hoping farmers would recognize signs of these diseases in their livestock and seek help as the current weather pattern could continue well into early next year. Savera Tambua, FBC News.
About 80,000 people in the country suffer some form of mental disorder. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 4 people experience some kind of mental health problem every year. Mental health grows with every stage of life, from childhood to adolescence and adulthood. What many of us don't realize is that mental health and mental illness are 2 different things.
So mental health is about having the ability to cope with stress, be productive, be able to contribute to your community. Yeah? So it's a more holistic sort of approach, whereas mental illness is when things go wrong.
80,000 people in Fiji are estimated to be suffering some form of mental disorder. Some may not even know it. The sad reality is that the majority of us don't do anything about it for a number of reasons. One of them is the fear of stigmatization.
Stigma that is so strongly attached to mental illness, even St. Giles. I think anyone who's grown up in Fiji, as soon as you say St. Giles, it's like Lia, or Pagla. You've got to be really sort of stark raving mad to go there. When the reality is it should be considered like any other hospital.
It knows no boundaries. Mental disorders can affect anyone, regardless of race, ethnicity, sexual orientation or religion. There are a number of causes for it.
However, if you are in a very stressful job, if you are predisposed, maybe have a family history of, mental illness, if you are already, say, abusing substances, drugs, if you're already not taking care of yourself physically, you are going to be much more susceptible to developing a mental disorder than, say, the other person who has all those reserves in place.
Despite these challenges, it is possible to recover from a mental health problem and live a productive and fulfilling life. Mental disorders is not a sign of weakness. Jackie Spate, FBC News. Honesty and loyalty has paid off for an 80-year-old man of Navatukia village in Serre, Naitasiri, after he was given keys to his new home. Eleanor Rangaivu has the story.
Laisenia Tangitangivula has been working for Ritesh Narayan's family, being a farmhand and helping out in their dairy and dalo farms. After 32 years of dedication to his work, Tangitangivula felt it is time to move back to his village.
He's a very truthful fella and he's very kind to us. One day we were talking about him. He told me that I'm too old, so I want to go to my village. So I told him, we just go directly to NDU, we just talk about your house.
Under government's rural housing assistance scheme, Tangitangivula is able to get a home, provided he gives 1/3 of the total cost. This was paid by Narayan.
The measurement of this house, it's 24 by 18, and the total cost of this house is $18,000. The senior was able to give his 1/3, which is $6,000, and then the government contributed the rest.
It took almost 3 weeks to build the home. Today, Tangitangivula is living in the new house, leaving behind the farm he worked and lived in for so many years.
I only reached up to class 8 in my education. I attended school here in Syria. I didn't go anywhere else until I started working at Ritesh's farm. I am really grateful for all the help that is given to me.
Tangitangivula is one of the 7 recipients of government's rural housing assistance in the province of Naitasiri this year. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
And on that note, it's sports time now. Jamie's not with us tonight, but Charlie joins us with the very latest.
Thank you, Jackie. Coming up in sports, the Flying Fijians arrive home from a successful PNC campaign, and the stage is set for the first BOG semi-final between the Western Giants tonight. This and more after the break.
छू 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 हे नमस्ते फीजी, आपके हर एक प्रॉब्लम की दवा लेकर मैं आ गई हूँ 9 से 12 बजे तक आपकी सहेली रेनू। छू 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 40 में 20 का दिखना है। मैं हूँ ना आपके साथ में मिर्ची एफएम पर 9 से 12 बजे तक मंडे टू फ्राइडे। मिर्ची, इट्स हॉट।
The Vodafone Flying Fijians have mapped out training schedules for the remaining few weeks ahead of the Rugby World Cup next month. The schedule could include a build-up match against Canada a week before the World Cup kicks off on September 18th. Josephine Navula has the details.
The Vodafone Flying Fijians were mobbed by fans at Nandi International Airport when they arrived home this morning as victors of the Pacific Nations Cup. Head coach John McKee says the competition was very tough, but the team did very well.
The team will now have a break till next Thursday, so the boys will have a bit of R&R, and then next Thursday we're back in camp, fitness testing and really getting into some hard training till the end of August. So we have 2.5 weeks of very intensive training with no games.
McKee says winning the tournament away from home was an achievement.
It's good for us to travel, get used to moving around together and the whole routine around the match cycle with all our our reviews, our trainings, our recoveries, all that sort of thing.
McKee adds the players are ready for the task ahead of them.
Playing those hard physical games, but normal bumps and bruises, but nothing that will keep players out of contention.
The team is scheduled to meet Canada in the last build-up match on the 6th of September in England. The Rugby World Cup will be held from the 19th of next month to the 1st of November. Josephine Vula, FBC Sports.
Fiji Pearls captain Mere Nailiko is confident of the team's chances at the Netball World Cup, which starts tomorrow. Nailiko was among the 16 team captains who gathered at Luna Park in Sydney last night to mark the beginning of the sport's pinnacle event.
You would expect a different team altogether compared to the 2011, and I would say this year was a blessing and was a very fortunate year for us because we got to play the Ferns twice, and it's amazing, and it's a good timing for our build-up towards the champs.
The Fiji Pearls will take on Wales in their first preliminary round World Cup match at 11:50 a.m. tomorrow, and you can watch the delayed coverage at 3:30 p.m. on FBC TV. The stage is set for the first semi-final of the Inc. Mobile Battle of the Giants tournament this evening between Ba and Nandi. The two Western Giants are expected to go toe-to-toe for a spot in the final. Organizers have reassured fans that ticket prices for the semi-finals and final will remain reasonable this weekend to ensure maximum turnout.
We have kept a flat price of $7 for adults and children $3. They sit anywhere, either on Pavilion A or Pavilion B. Both Bar and the Gambau Park have the same sort of structure. So instead of demarking or separating it, we have left it open.
The first semi-final match between Ba and Nandi kicks off at 7 p.m. In the second semi-final, Rewa plays Suba at Ratatokombau Park at 7 p.m. tomorrow. The final will be played in Nosori on Sunday. ANZ Bank today renewed its naming rights of the ANZ Stadium in Suva for another 5 years. There is an increase in annual sponsorship for the world-class venue of over $2 million. The Fiji Sports Commission expressed its gratitude for such support, which will continue to attract more renowned sporting tournaments to the country.
Our commitment today is about providing opportunities for Fijians to grow through sports and bring about positive social change.
This is the sort of corporate commitment that we need for sports to grow in the country everywhere. We need a partnership, and it's getting more and more important. We can't rely just on government. It's the same we're seeing everywhere in the world now.
Some of the major local and international tournaments that have been hosted at the ANZ Stadium include the World Rugby Pacific Challenge, Oceania Football Championship, and Pacific Nations Cup. And finally, former Vodafone Fiji Mbati rep Jarryd Hayne has impressed in his first practice for the San Francisco 49ers. Despite wearing tackling pads and a helmet for the first time, Hayne was impressive in training as he chases the dream of a spot in the 49ers playing roster next season. Hayne is being eyed as a potential linebacker or a punt receiver. The San Francisco 49ers will cut its roster from 90 to 75 on September 1st and then to 53 4 days later. And that was FBC's Sports for tonight.
The Vinod Patel and Company Limited Group has introduced a staff appreciation and recognition policy. The policy includes a staff term life insurance cover. Julie Vatwaliwali reports.
Today is an important achievement in the history of one of the country's oldest business. The Vinod Patel Group, which has 6 subsidiary companies, is introducing a staff recognition and appreciation program for its employees. Human Resource Manager Ranju Kumar says the organization has well-defined strategies to help employees develop innovative ways of providing services.
The company believes that our staff really work hard and they give us their commitment, they give us their dedication, and today what we have done is we have introduced the group staff term life insurance cover. What this basically means is that our staff are covered for their life insurance.
Samuel Atau, who has worked as a security for 34 years, says he is proud to be a part of the company.
It's a great privilege for me to give it such a honor especially today, and me giving all this insurance policy.
Kishore Chand has worked with Vinod Patel companies since 1983.
First, I would like to thank the company for this initiative, for giving the insurance policy to the workers.
it will benefit the whole family.
Insurance is applicable to all full-time insurance employees who have completed 1 year of employment with the company. Julie Watuwaliwali, FBC News.
Fine weather prevailed over most parts of the country today. A trough of low pressure lies slow moving over Tokelau and extends eastwards over northern Cooks and southeastwards over French Polynesia. Meanwhile, another trough affects Nauru, western Kiribati and Phoenix Islands. Nandi recorded a maximum temperature of 32 degrees. Savu and Lambasa recorded 30, while Lautoka and Ba reached a high of 31. Forecast for tomorrow, strong easterly winds with average speeds of 45 to 55 kilometers an hour. Momentary gusts of 65 are expected over Lau and Lomai Viti Group, Yasawa and Mamanuca Group, Vanua level, eastern and northern Viti level, Kandavu, Taviuni and nearby smaller islands. Showers developing from the west and spreading over the rest of the group later tomorrow. Outlook for Saturday is occasional showers over most places. And the main points again. The government will continue to focus on further developing the clothing, textile and footwear industry. 5 members have been appointed to the Fiji Roads Authority for a term of 3 years, and the Ethauke Affairs Ministry expects to align its plans for 2016 with issues common among most villages and communities. Now to our Pulse segment. This week we are asking, should we have phone tapping in line with international standards? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page, FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply #FBC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Jackie Spade. Good night.